Alright, Ron and MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, yesterday the UFC did a big announcement. I thought it was going to be one massive, crazy announcement that they were going to make, but it turned out to just be a lot of main events that they were announcing, which is always good news because now I've got something to talk about. And they made a ton of matchups at middleweight, which is fantastic because since the beginning of this year, middleweight, aside from, Alex Pereira and Izzy, has been a very stagnant division. And I literally just did a video talking about how to make middleweight great again just a few days ago and tried to do some matchmaking on my own. Now, they did not do any of the matchups that I asked for, but that's quite all right. We'll go over the matchups that they did make. I'm going to break it up into two videos since there are four new high-ranked middleweight matchups that are going to be taking place. This first one is going to be Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, or Marvin Vettori and Jared Cannonier, and Jack Hermansson versus Brandon Allen. Now, I'm going to start with Marvin Vettori and Jared Cannonier. I get why this fight makes sense, but I don't at the same time because they're both ranked in the top 5 and they haven't fought each other, and that's why it makes sense. The problem is, though, is that if one of them wins, I still don't think that either of them have done enough to get a rematch with Israel Adesanya, and I don't think that the fights would look any differently. I know Marvin Vettori made some improvements in his last fight against Roman Dolidze, with, showing a little bit of head movement and stuff like that. It seems like he realized that he was a little too hittable after that Robert Whittaker fight, and he went back and tried to fix some things. But also, that being said, Roman Dolidze is not a very high-level striker. His bread and butter is grappling, and he was still able to land quite a few shots on Marvin Vettori. It was a close, competitive fight, and I just don't think Marvin Vettori a third time around would do anything differently against Israel Adesanya, and I don't think that Jared Cannonier having the opportunity now, maybe because he's old and he realizes that this will actually 100% be his last shot at a title shot. If he were to get one with a win over Marvin Vettori, maybe he would actually go balls to the wall and try to finish Izzy and not just let him leg kick him at range. But So I was hoping that they would match these guys up with some fresh contenders so that if the fresh contenders were to win, they could justify giving them, like, the fresh contenders a title shot, right? I think I asked for Brendan Allen to fight either Marvin Vettori or Jared Cannonier, but it is what it is, dude. We'll talk about this matchup since it's the one happening, okay? Before we get into it, dude, like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right? Thank you very much. Marvin Vettori versus Jared Cannonier. I would have to pick Marvin Vettori in this matchup only because Jared Cannonier is older, seems a little slower, and I know that power is the last thing to go on older guys, but it seems like there are other factors that come with age that make guys more hesitant to throw their power. Marvin Vettori has one of the best chins in the entire UFC. I mean, this guy takes shots after shots after shots. Robert Whittaker didn't even drop him. You know what I mean? And he hit him clean with, like, head kicks with whatever he wanted to, essentially. It's Marvin Vettori and Kelvin Gastelum. I think that was the matchup that I asked for because they both have crazy chins. But either way. Dude, also, this total side, Marvin Vettori has, like, the best tattoo in the whole of the UFC. At least in my opinion, anyways. I really like traditional Japanese tattoo or Asian art in general. His tattoo is phenomenally done. Okay, if you know anything about tattoos, you know that that is a very well done sleeve, and the chest plate. Anyways, dude, Marvin Vettori is not the best striker, and he's not even really the best grappler. But, like, his ability to just continuously go forward and eat shots just to land some of his own. I know Jared Cannonier, aside from the Izzy fight, has looked good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look like he's aged all that much, but at the same time it has. And Marvin Vettori, man, he's so young. He's gonna be making improvements every time we see him, essentially. And I don't think that Jared Cannonier is gonna be able to just crack the chin of Marvin Vettori and put him to sleep. You know what I mean? Which is basically his way of winning. Now, a way that I could see Jared Cannonier getting a finish is, like, similar to the Derek Brunson one. If I'm not mistaken, I could be misremembering that fight, but I'm pretty sure Jared Cannonier finished him on the ground. If there was a scramble and Jared Cannonier were to end up on top, I could see Jared Cannonier getting a finish that way because not only does he have the power that he holds on the feet, but he's got gravity on his side now, and Marvin Vettori won't be able to use any of that newly found head movement that he has. and could get TKO'd, but I think Marvin's going to be able to grind out a decision here. He'll probably attempt a lot of takedowns up against the fence. He is going to be aware of the power of Jared Cannonier, obviously, but he's also probably aware that he has one of the best chins of all time ever. You know what I mean? Not that he wants to just rely on that solely, but I could see him trying to put a pace on Jared Cannonier, back him up against the fence, and then shoot takedowns to make Jared Cannonier defend them, and just kind of like grind it out that way. Not totally going for like a KO or anything like that, but just make a Jared Cannonier work, use all that big muscle, especially in the opening round or two, and just grinding out a decision win there. I don't see him getting a finish, but you know what I mean? You never know, I guess. The next fight that they made, which this is why I wish that they would have done these matchups a little bit differently, but maybe it was scheduling thing, maybe, who knows, man. Jack Hermansson versus Brendan Allen. The reason why I don't really like this matchup is because we just saw what Brendan Allen can do against a high-level grappler in Muniz, Muniz, whatever the fuck, however you say it, dude. I wanted to see him tested against somebody a little bit higher because he would be fresh blood, and he's been looking very good. And I get that it would have been a massive jump in the rankings, and it would have been hard maybe to get a top 5 guy to accept that fight. Jack Hermansson is not in the top 5, but he's a very good grappler. But that's essentially all. Like, his striking's okay, but not really. And his striking is dependent on guys not wanting to go to the ground with him, whereas Brendan Allen doesn't seem to mind going to the ground with dudes who should absolutely be submitting him in theory. You know what I mean? And then he himself submits them. I think I would pick Brendan Allen at this point. I think Jack Hermansson, he might not be old in age, but I think he's a little long in the tooth, and he hasn't been all that impressive to me. He took that beating from Sean Strickland, and you know what I mean? He subbed Kelvin Gastelum quickly, but that was just a surprise kind of thing. Kind of like how Claudio Puelles, or you know what I mean? Dudes like that, Ryan Hall, can get you in a leg lock that you're not expecting. Brendan Allen is, in my opinion, more well-rounded, though. He can grapple with the best grapplers on planet Earth, a guy who broke Jacare Souza's arm in the cage. He can strike. You know what I mean? He's good, man. I wish that they would have given him somebody ranked higher so that if he were to have gone out there and beaten like a Marvin Vettori or Jared Cannonier decisively or impressively, you know what I mean, in emphatic fashion, if he got a finish, they could justify giving him a title shot. But I would imagine he beats Hermansson. After that, he will have a top 5 shot, and then we have some fresh blood at middleweight. I would pick him to beat Jack Hermansson. I don't know by how. I could see him getting another sub, man. The guy is fucking good. Like, he's really good. And he's kind of just coming into his own, so you know what I mean. Chris Curtis has a win over him, and that ages very well for Chris Curtis. That was a while ago, though, so I think that this kid is, you know what I mean, he's coming into his own, hitting his athletic prime, and we're going to get to see what he can actually do. So I'm kind of excited for that matchup, even though it's not the ones that I asked for. But anyways, dude, that's the end of this video. I don't have much to say about it. I don't know. This doesn't really do a whole lot. It's going to be tricky, man, at middleweight, because there's a couple other matchups that I'm going to talk about. One of them has absolutely nothing to do with the title picture. Right now, what it seems like they are going to do is they are either going to make Dricus du Plessis versus Robert Whittaker, and then if Robert Whittaker beats yet another contender for Israel Adesanya, maybe they can justify giving him a trilogy fight, and maybe they'll market it as that the second fight was so razor close that they're, you know what I mean? I don't know how they do it. I think Robert Whittaker deserves a third shot because I thought that he won that second fight. I think that they should make Dricus du Plessis fight a Robert Whittaker before they give him the Israel Adesanya matchup, because storyline is not everything, and Dricus du Plessis has not been there. He's been impressive, but there are things that worry me about him. That's it. You know what I mean? I think that Robert Whittaker beats him. Now, if he goes out there and he beats Robert Whittaker, fine, let him fight Izzy. But that's what it seems like it's happening right now. Because Paulo Costa's kind of fucking burning all his bridges, dude. Robert Whittaker says he won't fight him. And I don't fucking blame him, dude. This isn't a scenario where it's like Robert Whittaker's ducking a fight with Paulo Costa. This is a scenario where Robert Whittaker was scheduled to fight Paulo Costa twice. Whoops. And Paulo Costa pulled out both of those fucking times. So I wouldn't want to fight him either. Now, as I said, with all the matchups that they've made, it seems like the only one left is either Drickus versus Adesanya or Drickus versus Robert Whittaker, and I don't know which they're going to do, but we will probably find out shortly. These are great matchups. I just don't like how the the two highest ranked guys are going to be fighting each other, just because it doesn't move anything if they win. You know what I mean? They each just kind of like flip a spot. And they've both had a chance at the champion. One of them, two chances, obviously, before he was champion, but still. Anyways, dude, that's the end of this video. I got one more to do. And then I probably have another one that I might save for tomorrow because I don't want to be putting out 4 videos in one morning. But anyways, like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.